You think awakening is about seeing more, about gaining a higher vision, or touching a secret light that others cannot. But the truth is almost the opposite. Awakening is not about adding anything. It is about seeing what remains when everything extra falls away. It is not about becoming divine. It is about realizing you already are. The moment you awaken, the universe begins to see through you, and everything familiar becomes quietly extraordinary. Most people live as if asleep with their eyes open. They are constantly moving, striving, improving, but never quite arriving. They chase experiences, relationships, or achievements, hoping that one of them will finally make them feel whole. And when the thrill fades, they look for the next thing. You can live an entire lifetime like this, endlessly reaching for peace while missing the stillness already here. Awakening is not something the mind can accomplish. It begins when the mind exhausts itself. It starts when you are finally tired of seeking, when you begin to suspect that the thing you are searching for has been looking through your eyes all along. There is a strange kind of mercy in that exhaustion. It is the point where control slips away and surrender becomes the only truth left. Think of it like this. Imagine standing in a fog, endlessly searching for the sun, only to realize that the light was never lost. The fog itself was made of your own thoughts, your own commentary about how life should be. The moment you stop fighting the fog, the light breaks through by itself. You do not need to force the awakening. You only need to stop arguing with what is. If these words resonate with something quiet inside you, stay until the end and subscribe. This space is not about followers or numbers. It is a gathering of souls remembering together. Every time someone awakens, the whole field brightens a little more. You are part of that brightness. You are not arriving here by accident. The illusion of awakening begins with the assumption that there is something missing in you, something broken that must be fixed. But you were never broken. You were simply taught to identify with noise, to confuse the echo for the source. When you were a child, you looked at the world with wonder, a leaf, a drop of rain, a reflection in water. Everything was alive. You did not think about the experience. You were the experience. But somewhere along the way, you learned the language of labels. You began to trade the miracle for the name. Now, when you look at a tree, you see the word tree before the life of it. You think of wood, shade, oxygen, and in that instant, the real tree disappears. You look at another person, and instead of seeing a soul, you see a story, gender, age, history, status. Slowly, the world became less alive, and you became trapped behind your own thoughts. To awaken is to reverse that conditioning. It is to see again without the filter. It is not mystical or rare. It is simply ordinary perception unclouded. You begin to notice the raw intimacy of existence, the texture of the moment before the mind touches it. Every sound, every breath, every flicker of light is a message from the infinite, reminding you that you have never left home. The moment this begins to dawn on you, fear often follows. The mind asks, what happens to me if I stop thinking? Who will I be without my story? But the fear is only the shadow of the ego realizing its own impermanence. You cannot lose yourself by awakening. You lose only the illusion that you were ever separate. And once that illusion starts to fade, life becomes astonishingly simple. The ordinary reveals itself as divine. Washing dishes, walking in the rain, hearing your heartbeat, all of it becomes sacred because you are finally present for it. There is no future to reach, no past to fix, only the shimmering now unfolding itself through your awareness. Awakening does not mean escaping life. It means seeing life without distortion. It is the rediscovery of what was always here, patiently waiting behind your thoughts. The universe has been looking through your eyes since the beginning, waiting for you to notice. So stop searching for the light as if it were distant. Stop chasing the next version of yourself. The light has never moved. You are standing in it. You are made of it. And that realization quiet, humbling, undeniable, is where awakening truly begins. You see, the mind has a strange habit. It does not experience life directly, it interprets it. It takes the raw mystery of existence and reduces it into words, images, and categories. It builds a world made of labels, and then it mistakes that world for reality. Every time you name something, you cover it with a thin layer of thought. The real moment disappears behind the veil of description. The map replaces the territory, the symbol replaces the truth. Imagine standing in front of a tree. Before you can even feel its presence, the mind says, that is a tree. It classifies, remembers, compares. It thinks of shade, of wood, of leaves. But in that instant, you have already lost contact with what is truly there. You are not seeing the living form. You are seeing your own concept of it. The real tree, the one shimmering with light and movement, has vanished behind a word. This is the trap of concepts. We are so busy defining life that we forget to live it. You may know the scientific name of a flower, its origin, its chemical makeup, but that knowledge does not let you smell it. You may understand love through poems and psychology, but you will never know love through ideas. Experience happens only in the silence before thought. Think about how you move through your day. You wake up, see the sun, and say morning. You look at your reflection and call it me. You pass strangers and assign them roles: friend, co-worker, stranger, superior. Before you know it, life becomes a movie running entirely in your head. You are no longer meeting the world, you are meeting your thoughts about the world. Children do not live like this. Watch a child for a moment. Everything is new. They look at their own hands as if seeing the universe for the first time. They touch water without needing to name it. They laugh at the movement of light because it is pure magic. They have not yet built the wall of concepts. They live in the real world while adults live in a memory of it. This habit of labeling is not evil. It is how the mind organizes experience. But it becomes dangerous when you forget that the label is not the thing. When you forget that your ideas about life are not life itself. That is when you stop seeing clearly. You stop being alive to what is right in front of you. At the quantum level, observation changes what is seen. But what kind of observation are we practicing? If we look through judgment, expectation, or memory, we distort reality into something small and safe. We shrink infinity to fit inside our thoughts. But when you look without naming, without trying to control or define, reality reveals its depth. You see movement where there was once an object. You see patterns where there was once chaos. You see yourself everywhere. Try it right now. Look at something in front of you without naming it. Let the shape, color, and light exist without interpretation. Notice the space between your thoughts. In that stillness, awareness shines through. That is what it means to see directly. You are no longer separate from what you observe. You are the seeing itself. Once you begin to notice this, a quiet joy arises. You start to understand why sages and poets speak in silence. They know that words can only point, never capture. The truth cannot be spoken. It can only be lived. When you stop demanding the world to fit into your ideas, you discover that it fits perfectly as it is. Sometimes this realization can bring tears, not from sadness, but from recognition. It feels like coming home after years of being lost in your own house. You realize the universe never stopped speaking to you. You just could not hear it over the noise of your thinking. So do not fight the mind, simply see it. Every time you catch yourself labeling, pause. Feel the space that exists before the word. Awareness grows in that pause. The more you rest there, the more alive everything becomes. If you feel this shift, share your reflection in the comments. Your words may remind someone else to look up from the screen of thought and into the living moment itself. That is how awakening spreads. Not through argument, but through presence. The trap of concepts will always try to return. The mind will keep labeling, judging, and explaining. But now you know that you are not inside the mind. You are the awareness watching it work. You can let it talk without believing it. You can let it describe without letting it define. And slowly, the distance between you and the world disappears. The tree is no longer an object. The sky is no longer a picture. They are movements of the same consciousness that is listening to these words. They are you in another form. To awaken is not to destroy the mind, but to see beyond it. You can still use words, but they no longer trap you. You can still think, but you no longer confuse thought for truth. The universe becomes transparent again, and you begin to sense that behind every form there is something vast, silent, and deeply alive. And that presence, that aliveness, has been here all along, patiently waiting for you to see without naming. Most people move through life half awake. They are breathing, thinking, planning, but not truly living. It is as if they are trapped inside a collective dream, a trance that everyone agrees to call reality. They repeat the same thoughts, the same emotions, the same patterns, believing they are making choices, when in truth, they are simply following scripts written long ago by culture, habit, and fear. From the moment you were born, this trance began. You were given a name, a language, a belief system. You were told who you are, what success means, what to fear and what to want. You learned to compete, to compare, to become. You were taught that life is a ladder and your worth depends on how high you climb. You were told to think constantly, to analyze everything, to chase the future as if the present were not enough. This is the collective hypnosis of humanity. Everyone is performing roles without remembering they are actors. We wear masks so convincingly that we forget our real face. Society rewards those who play the game well and punishes those who stop playing. The tragedy is not that we wear masks, but that we forget we can take them off. Sometimes this trance is comfortable. It gives you identity, purpose, and direction. But it also gives you anxiety, emptiness, and an endless hunger for more. You live surrounded by noise, advertisements telling you what you need, opinions shaping what you should believe. You scroll through images of other people's lives and measure your worth against illusions. Without realizing it, you drift further from yourself, lulled by the hum of repetition. Once in a while, something disrupts the trance. It might be loss, heartbreak, beauty, or silence. Suddenly, the background noise stops. The world becomes sharp, vivid, alive. The smell of rain, the sound of wind, the warmth of another hand, all become unbearably real. For a moment, the dream cracks and awareness shines through. That is the beginning of awakening. Not a grand event, but a quiet recognition that what you have been calling life was only its surface reflection. You start to see how everyone is sleepwalking. The rushing, the arguing, the endless striving, all of it looks like motion without awareness. You see it in yourself too. The way you worry about things that never happen, the way you relive old pain as if it were still unfolding. The trance feeds on attention. And every time you believe a fearful thought, you strengthen the spell. The way out is not to fight the trance, but to see it. Awareness breaks hypnosis. The moment you realize you are dreaming, the dream begins to lose power. You do not need to fix anything. You only need to notice. When you see the mind creating stories, let them play without entering the stage. You are not the actor anymore. You are the audience watching the show. As this awareness grows, your relationship with life changes. You stop reacting automatically. You pause before responding. You hear people's words, but you also feel the silence behind them. You notice beauty in ordinary moments. You start to wake up in small ways every day. The world does not change. but your way of seeing it does. And that shift is everything. If you are hearing this and something inside you feels still, that is not an accident. It means you are already waking up. Comment below and share what that moment feels like for you. Your story may be the mirror that helps someone else see through their trance. We are not alone in this awakening. We are remembering together. The collective trance is sustained by fear, but fear cannot survive in awareness. When you face it directly, without resistance, it evaporates like mist in sunlight. You realize there is nothing to defend, nothing to prove, nothing to become. You are not separate from life. You are the life you have been searching for. Imagine standing in a busy city street, people rushing, horns blaring, screens glowing, everything moves fast. Then imagine stepping back for a second. The noise fades, and you feel the stillness beneath the movement. You realize the stillness was there all along. That stillness is your true nature. You were never the chaos. You were the space holding it. Awakening does not mean rejecting the world. It means living in it consciously. It means knowing the play without forgetting you are the audience. You can work, love, create, and laugh, but you no longer believe the dream is all there is. You carry the silence with you into the noise, and that silence transforms everything it touches. The world may continue to sleep, but you do not have to. Awareness spreads through presence, not persuasion. Each moment you stay awake is a light that reaches others, even if no word is spoken. The collective trance is ending, one quiet awakening at a time. And perhaps tonight, as you listen, you can feel it too, the gentle turning of the world back toward itself. There comes a moment on this journey when something begins to tremble inside you. It is the quiet sense that the person you thought you were is only a shadow. The identity you defend so fiercely begins to fade like a dream in daylight. The voice in your head that comments on everything, that judges, worries, and plans, has always felt like you. But suddenly, you start to see it from a distance. You begin to notice that the thoughts appear and disappear while something deeper remains still and watching. That silent awareness is who you truly are. For years, you believed that the thinker and the observer were the same. You believed that the voice narrating your life was your own essence. But now, awareness turns inward and begins to see that voice as an object. You realize that you can listen to your thoughts, which means you cannot be them. The observer cannot be what it observes. You are the space in which the voice arises, not the voice itself. This realization can be unsettling at first. The mind resists it because it feels like dying. It feels as though the ground under your feet is dissolving. The ego will panic and say, if I am not my thoughts, then who am I? Do not rush to answer. Stay with that question like you would stay with the sunset. Quietly, patiently. Let the silence that follows the question speak for itself. What you will find is not emptiness, but vastness. You discover that who you are cannot be named, cannot be described, cannot be lost. Every emotion, every sensation, every thought moves through you like weather through the sky. Storms come and go, but the sky remains untouched. The awareness that you are is the same. It is never damaged by what passes through it. Pain, joy, anger, love, all rise and fall in the same infinite field of consciousness. Once you see this, you stop identifying with the storm. You stop calling the clouds me. You start resting as the open sky. The mind does not like this loss of control. It has spent a lifetime building a story about you. It needs that story to feel safe. But the story is made of memory, and memory is made of thought. When you look for the self that the mind describes, you find only a trail of ideas. The self that worries about its reputation, that fears failure, that seeks recognition, exists only in imagination. When you stop believing in it, it vanishes. What remains is freedom. At first, this freedom feels strange. Without the familiar voice to cling to, life feels open, raw, uncertain. You may even grieve the loss of the person you thought you were. But slowly, a deep peace settles in. The silence that frightened you becomes the most intimate friend you have ever known. You realize that life does not end when the ego dissolves. It begins. Imagine standing at the edge of the ocean. The waves rise and crash, each one shouting its own name. Then imagine that every wave suddenly remembers it is the ocean. It still rises, it still moves, but now it knows it has never been separate. That is what happens when the self dissolves. The personality remains. The body continues. The story unfolds. But now you know what you really are. You are the awareness behind the form, not the form itself. This insight changes how you relate to the world. You stop needing to prove or defend yourself. You no longer take things so personally because you see that everything is happening in awareness, not to awareness. The anger of another person, the praise or blame, all of it moves through the same open field. You can witness it without losing your center. You can love without clinging, and you can let go without fear. Try to notice right now that you are aware. You do not have to create awareness. It is already here. Thoughts are appearing. Sensations are happening. But you are the one silently observing it all. That observer is not something you do. It is what you are. It has no shape, no size, no boundaries. It is the same awareness that moves through every living being. When this becomes clear, life feels lighter. The pressure to become someone dissolves. The effort to control everything relaxes. You realize that existence itself is living through you. The heartbeat, the breath, the sparkle in your eyes, none of it needs your permission. It is all happening on its own. You are not behind life pushing it forward. You are the field in which life unfolds. So let the old identity fade. Let the noise of the mind settle. You do not need to destroy the ego. You only need to stop mistaking it for yourself. When you rest as awareness, even for a few seconds, everything changes. The world feels softer. Every sound becomes music. Every moment feels new. You realize that what you have been searching for was never lost. It has been silently watching through your eyes since the beginning. And when that realization finally sinks in, when you see through the illusion of the self, there is a peace so vast it cannot be described. It is not something you achieve. It is something you remember. It is the quiet joy of the ocean recognizing its own reflection in the wave. When the walls of the self begin to fade, something extraordinary happens. You start to feel that you are not inside the universe looking out. You are the universe looking at itself. The air that moves through your lungs is the same air that once moved through trees and mountains. The light touching your skin is the same light that has traveled for billions of years across space to reach you. Nothing in you is separate from what surrounds you. Everything is part of one great unfolding. Each breath is an exchange between your body and the cosmos. You inhale the life of the world and exhale yourself back into it. There is no dividing line. The sense of separation was only a thought, a useful illusion for survival. When it dissolves, you do not disappear. You become vast. You feel the pulse of existence moving through you, a rhythm too perfect to be planned. In moments of silence, this truth reveals itself. Listen closely. Beneath every sound, beneath the hum of thought, there is a subtle vibration that never stops. It is the heartbeat of the universe, and it beats in perfect harmony with your own. The same intelligence that forms galaxies is shaping the breath you are taking now. When you finally see this, the world no longer feels outside of you. It feels like home. The idea of being separate begins to seem impossible. You can no longer find where you end and life begins. When you eat, the food becomes your body. When you breathe, the air becomes your blood. When you love, another heart beats inside your own. Everything is transforming into everything else. Life is a single dance performed by countless shapes. And yet, We spend so much time defending our little corners of existence as if we could own what is shared by all. We compete for space, for attention, for validation, forgetting that we are made of the same dust and light. When you truly feel your connection with everything, the idea of harming another becomes absurd. It is like cutting your own hand and wondering why it hurts. Compassion becomes natural because it is not an effort. It is simply intelligence seeing itself clearly. If you are listening to this now, take a deep breath and notice how life breathes you. Feel how effortless it is. You are not doing the breathing. It is being done through you. The same invisible power that moves the tides and turns the planets is moving in your chest. You are being lived. The universe is not somewhere out there. It is happening right here, through you, as you. This realization changes how you move through the world. You begin to see beauty everywhere, even in what you once called ordinary. A passing stranger, the sound of rain, the flicker of sunlight on water, all begin to shine with quiet divinity. You no longer feel the need to chase meaning, because meaning is woven into everything. You no longer fear death because you see that nothing truly ends. It only changes form. The wave may fall back into the sea, but it was never anything other than the sea. In this unity, love deepens beyond emotion. It becomes awareness recognizing itself in another form. You see yourself in everyone you meet, not as an idea, but as a felt reality. The more you look, the more the illusion of distance fades. Even pain becomes sacred because you understand that it belongs to the same movement of life. You stop asking why things happen and begin to trust that everything is part of the same intelligence unfolding perfectly. If these words touch something familiar inside you, let it be a reminder that you were never apart. You do not need to reach the universe. You are the universe remembering itself. The same awareness that watches these words is the same awareness that paints the stars, that moves through rivers, that dreams in every creature. Close your eyes for a moment. Feel the weight of your body resting on the earth. Notice that the earth is holding you effortlessly. You are not standing on it, you are rising out of it. The ground beneath you is not separate, it is your larger body. You are breathing with the trees, pulsing with the stars, glowing with the fire of life itself. This is the reunion you have always longed for. Not with another person, not with an idea of God, but with the reality that has always been here. You are no longer a drop lost in the ocean, you are the ocean realizing it was never a drop. And once you see that, loneliness disappears. You can be alone but never isolated. You can be quiet but never empty. You carry the entire cosmos within your breath. So walk gently, speak softly, and move through the world knowing that every face you see is your own. Every heartbeat is one heartbeat. Every moment is shared. The reunion is not coming. It has already happened. You are simply remembering it now. When you begin to feel your connection with all things, something miraculous becomes clear. You are not moving life forward. Life is moving you. Every breath, every heartbeat, every thought, every step is guided by an intelligence far beyond the reach of the mind. This intelligence has no name, yet it shapes everything that exists. It grows galaxies and blades of grass with the same effortless grace. It does not struggle, it does not plan, it simply unfolds. Look at your own body. It knows what to do without your help. Your heart beats in perfect rhythm. Your lungs expand and contract. Your cells repair, divide, and die in flawless coordination. You do not remind them. You do not give the order. The same intelligence that forms the stars is forming your every moment. You are not controlling your life. You are being lived. This can feel unsettling at first. The ego resists the idea of surrender because it believes control equals safety. It wants to steer the ship, to make the right choices, to guarantee the outcome. But the truth is that you have never truly been in charge. You have always been part of a greater movement, a current so vast it cannot be seen from within it. To fight it is to exhaust yourself. To align with it is to awaken. Notice the effortless rhythm of existence. The grass does not try to grow. The river does not force its flow. The earth does not spin because it must. They move according to their nature, with perfect timing. The sun rises and sets without failure. The seasons turn without rush. This is the way of the cosmos, the way of the Tao, the dance of divine intelligence. And this same dance is happening in you. When you see this clearly, you begin to trust life again. You no longer believe that every situation must be fixed or understood. You start to recognize the wisdom inside uncertainty. What you once called chaos begins to reveal its hidden order. Even moments of pain are seen as part of a larger perfection unfolding beyond your view. Everything that happens as the universe expressing itself through you. If you pause for a moment and listen deeply, you may feel that movement right now. There is a pulse underneath your skin, a quiet hum that connects you to everything that breathes. It is the sound of being lived. You are not the puppet of the universe. You are the universe playing one of its infinite songs. People often ask what it means to surrender. It does not mean giving up or becoming passive. It means realizing that the river is already flowing in the right direction. When you stop trying to swim against it, the current carries you exactly where you need to go. You can still act, but your actions are no longer born from fear. They come from alignment. You become a vessel of intelligence rather than a prisoner of effort. If you have ever felt this, even for a second, you know the peace it brings. The moment you stop trying to control the world begins to move through you with grace. The weight of responsibility softens. The endless calculations of the mind fade into the background. Life becomes simpler, not because problems disappear, but because you stop adding your resistance to them. You discover that reality knows how to take care of itself. Think of how nature creates beauty without design. Snowflakes form patterns more complex than any machine. Oceans rise and fall with perfect rhythm. Forests renew themselves without instruction. All of it is orchestrated by the same intelligence that beats in your chest. When you realize this, awe replaces anxiety. You stop asking why things happen and begin to trust that everything happens through an intelligence beyond your understanding. If these words bring you a sense of calm, share it below. Tell us what it feels like when you let go, even for a moment, and allow life to carry you. Your story might remind someone else that they too can rest inside this intelligence. This is how awareness spreads, not through effort, but through recognition. As you rest in this truth, you will feel a quiet shift. The boundary between doer and doing begins to blur. You act, but it feels as though action happens through you. You speak, but it feels as though the words are spoken by life itself. This is not surrender to fate. It is partnership with the source. You are not separate from the intelligence that guides the stars. You are its voice, its gesture, its heartbeat. When you truly understand this, there is a lightness to everything. Even in uncertainty, there is peace. Even in loss, there is trust. You realize that the power that holds galaxies together is the same power that holds you in this moment. You are not apart from it. You are that power, remembering itself as a human being. And that recognition, quiet and boundless, is what freedom really means. Time is the greatest magician. It makes you believe that life is a line stretching from past to future, carrying you along like a leaf on a river. You measure yourself by it, you chase it, you fear it, but you never stop to ask if it is real. The truth is that you have never experienced time itself. You have only ever experienced now. The past is a memory appearing now. The future is imagination appearing now. There has never been anything else. Close your eyes for a moment and notice what is here. The sound of your breath, the feeling of gravity, the rhythm of your heart. All of it is happening now. You cannot step into yesterday and you cannot stand in tomorrow. Life is eternally unfolding in this single, timeless instant. The clock may move, the seasons may change, But the experience of existence never leaves this moment. The mind, however, lives in time. It remembers, it plans, it worries, it compares. It builds stories about who you were and who you might become. It uses time to protect its identity because without the story of before and after, the mind cannot find itself. So it keeps you busy chasing the next moment, always promising peace in the future, but never allowing it now. That is the trap. You might think that time passes, but it does not. You pass through awareness, like a dream moving across a still sky. The sky does not move with the clouds. Awareness does not move with thoughts. When you see this, you stop rushing. You stop trying to arrive. You realize you have never left. The destination you have been seeking is the moment you are already in. Human beings suffer so much because they live for what is not yet and mourn what is no longer. They look ahead with fear and look back with regret. They believe that happiness is waiting just a little farther down the road. But when they arrive, the mind moves the finish line. The future is a mirage that keeps disappearing the closer you get. The only way to end the chase is to stop running. When you become still, time loosens its grip. You begin to sense a different kind of rhythm, one that is not measured by clocks, but by awareness itself. Everything happens at the speed of now. Every sound, every heartbeat, every breath begins and ends here. There is no before, no after. Only the dance of eternity unfolding as this moment. Think about how much of your life has been spent waiting. Waiting for the weekend, for love, for success, for peace. And yet, when the things you waited for arrived, they only lasted a moment before becoming memories. The waiting never ends until you realize there is nothing to wait for. The fullness you seek is already here, hidden beneath your expectations. When you live in the present, even simple things shine. The sound of rain, the warmth of light, the texture of air, all feel complete. You stop demanding that life be different. You stop comparing this moment with another. You begin to understand that the now does not need improvement. It is perfect because it is the only thing that truly exists. This realization changes your relationship with time. You still plan, but you do not live in plans. You still remember, but you do not live in memories. You use time, but it no longer uses you. You stop measuring your worth by how much you accomplish or how far you have come. You start feeling life directly, not as a sequence, but as a living presence. If you want to test this truth, take a single deep breath. Inhale slowly and notice the moment the air enters your body. Then exhale and feel the release. Everything that has ever happened or will happen exists within that simple movement. The past breath is gone, the future breath has not yet come, and yet here you are, fully alive. This is eternity disguised as something ordinary. As you rest in this awareness, peace comes naturally. The pressure to hurry disappears. The anxiety of not being enough dissolves. You see that there is no race, no timeline, no finish. You were never late because there is no later. You were never early because there is no before. There is only the eternal now, unfolding perfectly in every direction. If this brings you a sense of calm, let it stay. Share your reflection below and tell us what it feels like to rest in the present moment. Your insight might be the reminder someone else needs tonight. This community exists so that we can remember together that awareness is not somewhere ahead, it is here. The illusion of time fades when you look closely, just like a mirage vanishes when you approach it. What remains is simple presence, untouched by beginning or end. It does not age, it does not hurry, it does not wait, it just is. And that is what you have always been. So stop counting the moments, start living them. The clock will continue to tick, but you will know that every tick happens inside eternity. The now is not moving through time. Time is moving through now. At the end of all seeking, there is a silence that cannot be described. It is not the silence of absence, but the silence that holds everything together. It is the still awareness that has been here from the beginning, watching the play of life without judgment, without effort, without end. Every sound, every emotion, every thought has appeared and disappeared inside this vast stillness, yet it remains untouched. You have searched for meaning, for purpose, for awakening. You have traveled through concepts, through beliefs, through endless questions. And after all of it, you begin to realize that what you were seeking was never far. It was the one listening to the search itself. The awareness behind every thought, the space between every breath, the quiet witness of all experience. That is who you are. This awareness is not something you must find. It has never been lost. You cannot reach it because you never left it. You are not moving toward awareness, you are moving through it. It is the background of every moment, the canvas upon which life paints its stories. You may forget it when you are lost in thought, but it never forgets you. When you sit in silence and feel the mind begin to slow, you might notice something subtle. Even when thoughts stop, something is still awake. That is the presence behind the personality, the light that does not flicker. You are not the clouds passing through the sky of awareness. You are the sky itself. You are the space that holds everything. At first, this realization can feel ordinary, almost too simple to notice. The ego expects awakening to be dramatic, full of fireworks and visions. But the truth is humble. Awakening feels like finally exhaling after holding your breath for a lifetime. It feels like coming home to a place you never really left. It feels like resting as yourself without needing to change anything. When you rest in this awareness, even pain becomes different. It still comes, it still moves through the body, but it no longer defines you. Suffering is born from resistance, and resistance dissolves in presence. You can feel sadness without drowning in it. You can experience joy without fearing its end. Everything arises and passes, but the awareness remains steady and clear. The awakened ones are not people who live above the world. They are those who live fully in it, while rooted in this stillness. They feel everything deeply, yet they are not shaken. They move through life gently because they know that every person, every moment, every sound is another expression of the same awareness. To harm another would be to harm themselves. To love another is to recognize themselves in a new form. If you sit quietly right now, you can feel this stillness. It is not distant. It is not hidden. It is the silence that hears these words, the space between each heartbeat. It has no name, no beginning, and no end. It is the one truth that has never changed, even while everything else rises and falls. When you realize this, gratitude comes naturally. You stop taking things for granted because you see that every experience, no matter how small, is awareness knowing itself. The simple act of breathing becomes sacred. The light falling on the floor, the sound of wind, the rhythm of footsteps, all become reflections of the same intelligence. Life is no longer something happening to you. It is you happening as life. If this recognition stirs something inside you, subscribe and return to this circle. This is not a community of believers, but a gathering of awareness remembering itself through many eyes. Share your reflection in the comments. Tell us what it feels like to touch this stillness. Your words may remind someone else that they were never lost, only distracted. Awakening does not end with enlightenment. It continues as the daily act of remembering. You will still forget. You will still get caught in thoughts. But now you know how to return. Each time you pause, breathe, and notice, awareness reintroduces itself. The still fire within never goes out. It only waits for you to stop searching long enough to feel its warmth again. You are not becoming awakened. You are awakening to what has always been. You are the stillness that moves, the silence that sings, the observer and the observed. You are the mirror in which the universe sees its own reflection. And in that recognition, all seeking ends. So be still for a moment. Feel the quiet within your chest. That is you. That is the light that has been guiding you all along. You are not a wave separate from the sea. You are the sea remembering its own rhythm. You are not looking at the universe anymore. The universe is looking through you. And in that gentle seeing, everything is finally complete.